Well, I'm back tuning into today's video. Well, I've thrown GavsWeatherVids.com open to you guys today, and I asked on Twitter and on Facebook for suggestions of ideas that we could do for today's video. And once again, you've come up trumps, you've come up with some really good ideas, and thanks very much for all of you for coming up with those ideas. Generally, many of you wanted to have a look at the winter of the coming winter, 2013-2014, and see what's going on with it. It's such early days, it's hard really to come up with much of a prediction or a forecast. I can't do that because it's too early, July. We won't start being able to do that until September. We start getting some things coming together in September, like how quickly the snow cover begins to amass over Siberia, and that kind of thing. But we have got seasonal models. There's a few seasonal models just starting to come into the range now for winter 13-14, so I'll have a quick look at those. And also there was a really good idea to have a look at whether hot summers play a part in cold winters, and we're going to use the Central England temperature index from the UK Met Office. Just have a look at some of the hot summers through the 20th century to see whether those summers pre-dated or came before cold winters, and whether you could maybe extrapolate the idea that there might be a cold winter after a hot summer, because as things turn very warm, and maybe we are heading for a hot summer. If we are, it's going to mean that my summer forecast is a complete total bust, because I said that the summer wasn't going to be up to much. So I'm watching these models coming in day by day, showing these high pressure fests that we keep seeing with some trepidation. Actually a bit worried about my summer forecast. I can see it going down the tubes, but the compensation of that will of course be that we have a good summer, so every cloud has a silver lining and all that kind of thing. But yeah, we're going to have a look at the Central England temperature index for this video, and then we're going to have a look at one or two of the seasonal models that are just beginning to come into the winter range. Now, before I get on with all of that, I want to talk about the advertising. There's green keyword ads on all my pages at GavsWeatherVids.com. If you roll your cursor over those green keywords, they will display ads. If you click through the keywords, if you click through the ad, you go to the advertiser's website, and by doing that you are supporting GavsWeatherVids.com. And thank you very much for doing that. It does make a big difference, and it will allow me eventually, hopefully, to add new things to the website. And talking of adding new things to the website, I'm going to be unveiling Gavs Flash later on at 5 o'clock this afternoon, so come back for that if you're interested to see what Gavs Flash is. Come back at 5 o'clock, I'll be unveiling it. And there's going to be a slightly different look and feel to all of my pages at GavsWeatherVids.com, actually. And one important change I'm making is to the drop-down menus. I'm putting the links menu, which currently is at the top of the page, on the top menu, and that's going to be going to the bottom menu. So if you like the links page, I know a lot of you do, it's one of my most popular pages at GavsWeatherVids. I'm aware of that through various analytics. I'm able to see and to see which pages are my most popular. I know that the links page is a popular page. It's going to be going to the bottom now. The link to the links page is going to be going to the bottom of the menu. So you've got to go down to the bottom of the page. You'll find the links tab there. Click through the links tab, you go to the links page, and there on the links page you will be able to find the link to the various websites that you want to see. Just making some changes and fundamental sort of changes to the menus and that kind of thing. And that's all going to be unveiled at 5 o'clock as well. So again, I hope you like the changes that I'm making. But remember, the links tab is going to be moving from the top of the menu to the bottom menu. So to find the links tab, to get to the links page, you will have to go down to the bottom of the page rather than it being at the top. Right, all of that done and dusted, let's have a look at the Central England temperature index and have a look at whether these warm summers that we get in the British Isles on occasion, not very often, but on occasion we do get hot summers, whether they predate cold winters. So we're going to start off, I think, with 1955. The reason I'm starting off with 1955 is actually that's a pretty good match, I think, to the current situation. It was in a period back in the 1950s where we had a cold PDO and a warm AMO, so the two big drivers in the Pacific and the Atlantic were kind of in the sort of situation we've got at the moment, cold Pacific, warm Atlantic. A period of quite weak solar activity through the middle of the 50s, we're around solar minimum, although now we're at solar maximum, but It's very weak solar maximum. But yeah, but two big drives, the Pacific, the Atlantic, were in a similar position to what we are in now. And the 1950s were a decade of pretty cold winters and pretty miserable summers, but we did get the odd exception through the 50s in terms of the summers, and 1955 was one of the big ones. So if we have a look at the central temperature for 1955, and I'll start highlighting the year for you so that you can see it. This is the year just here of 1955, just there going through that line. And what's interesting is that the year before the summer of 1955 had a really terrible summer, 1954, with central temperature index of 13.4, 14.2 and 14.6 for June, July, August respectively. A dreadful summer, 1954. And then again, 1956, we get a really terrible summer. So the summer after 1955, yep, another really bad summer, 13.1 for June, 15.8 for July, and a horrendous 13.5 for August. So both 1954 and 1956 dreadful summers. But in between, we get this one really good summer through 1955, and it has an index for June of 13.8, for July 17.7, and for August really good, 18.1. A proper hot August that was, and it was a very odd summer really to come in the middle of all those dreadful summers. But that was a hot summer in 1955. Did it mean anything for the winter? Well, actually we have quite a cold winter through December and January. It wasn't particularly cold, 5.4 there for December, 3.6 I should say for January. But once you get to February, it gets severely cold February in 1956 at minus 0.2, a sub-zero month in terms of the central England temperature. So that was one cold winter that followed a hot summer in the 1950s. But let's have a look at a few more summers just to see whether there is any more sort of extrapolation. The next summers we're going to go to will be excuse me, in the 1970s. So we're going to have a look at the summers of 1975 and 1976. So there's 75, there's 76. And the summer of 1975 saw a June central temperature of 14.7, July of 17.4, and August really hot, 18.7. What did it mean for the winter? Oh well, December comes in at 5.3, January comes in at 5.9, February comes in at 4.5. So a hot summer there in 1975, followed by a really quite a mild winter, very mild winter, 75, 76. And then of course the summer of 76, the famous classic summer, June comes out at 17.0, July at 18.7, August at 17.6. Really hot summer, extraordinary hot June. What did it mean for the winter? Well, December comes out at 2.0, January 77 comes out at 2.8, February at 5.2. So there we've got two hot summers, 75, 76. One of those hot summers followed by a mild winter, one followed by a cold winter. You can't draw much from that. Then we have a look at 1978. That was a really cold summer, a cool summer there in 78 with 13.7 for June, 14.8 for July, dreadful July, for just 15.0 for August. Was the best of the summer, but it was really terrible. What did that cool summer mean for winter? Well, December comes out at 3.9. January 79 minus 0.4, really cold January, February 1.2. So that cold summer was followed, that cool summer was followed by a cold winter. Does that mean that cold summers are often followed by cold winters? Well, let's have a look at another cold summer, which was 1980, and that comes out with June at 13.8, July terrible, 14.7. August 15.9, not quite so bad, but a really miserable summer in 1980. What did that mean for winter? December 5.6, January 4.9, February 3.0. So that in 1978 we have a cool summer that is followed by a very cold winter. In 1980 we have a cool summer that's followed by a mild winter. So again, there's nothing really that you could extrapolate from this. It looks very random, doesn't it? There's no sort of connection here that's particularly obvious between hot summers and cold winters, or cold summers and cold winters. Let's have a look at 89 and 90. Another pair of hot summers. We've got June 1989 coming in at 14.6. July really hot, 18.2. August 16.6, very warm summer. What happened in the winter? December 89 comes out at 4.9. January really mild, 6.5. February exceptionally mild at 7.3. So a really mild winter there, followed by the hot summer of 1989. What about summer of 1990? June 13.6, July 16.9. My mark got a bit askew, and August 18.0. That was a hot summer. Of course, the classic August of 1990, where it reached 100 Fahrenheit in Cheltenham. What did it mean for the winter? Well, December 4.3, January 3.3, and of course, the really cold February of 1991 comes out at 1.5, but has a severely cold spell in the first half of February. So again, we have the idea that we've got a hot summer there in 1989, being followed by a really mild winter. Then we've got another hot summer in 1990, being followed by, yes, you've guessed it, a cold winter. So again, there's no obvious connection there between the summers and the winters that follow. I could go on with this 1994, 1995, for instance. Again, at 94, 14.5, 18.0, 16.0 for summer, followed by a really mild winter, 94, 95. Whereas 1995, another hot summer with June coming out at 14.3, July 18.6, August 19.2. I'll highlight that one. That's really hot August there in 1995, 19.2. I'm going to do a historic video about summer 1995 before much longer, actually. And that's followed by a cold winter in 95, 96, 2.3. 4.3, 2.5 for February. So again, there's no clear, obvious pattern there between hot summers and cold or mild winters. We've got one hot summer in 94, which is followed by a mild winter, one hot summer in 95, which is followed by a cold winter. What I would say is that all of the cold winters that we've been experiencing in recent years have been coinciding with the cool and miserable summer patterns. And the last hot summer in 2006, I'm sure you remember that, really hot July, but we had a warm June as well at 15.9. July comes in at 19.7 and August at 6.1. The last hot summer there, 2006, is followed by an exceptionally mild winter, December 6.5, January 7.0, February 5.8. That was the mildest, warmest winter. I believe I'm right in saying that was the warmest winter, 2006, 2007, since around 1868-69. So that exceptionally mild winter did happen after our last our last hot summer, and all of the cold winters that we've been having have been coinciding with these really miserable summers. So you would look at that the last few years and maybe say that a cool summer probably makes it more likely to have a cold winter, but we've just seen that through the central temperature years that just isn't right, and hot summers can be followed by cold winters, also can be followed by mild winters. Cool summers can be followed by cold winters and by mild winters. There's no connection that's particularly obvious to me between summer and winter. Now, I know some people do think that there's a connection between summer and winter, or winter and summer. I'm not convinced about it, and I believe that central temperature proves that right, that it doesn't matter what kind of summer we get this year, be it hot or be it cool. It's not going to be a cool summer, I don't think, because this July is looking very good, but whatever the summer turns out at, it's not going to be that impactful for the winter of 13-14. Just have a look at a few long-range models finally before I go to see what they're predicting for the coming winter. Most of the models don't yet go up to the winter period, but this one does, the Jamstech IOD model, and I actually showed you this in my first autumn forecast I did last month. This is the temperature anomaly for the winter, December, January, February, and look how cold the model is across many parts of not just the British Isles but the whole of Europe as well, looking really cold for the winter. Now, I did say in that, I still stand by it, that the Jamstech does have a bit of a tendency to overdo cold conditions at the extended range, and as it gets closer it sort of corrects itself. But that does apply to America. Look how warm it is across America, funnily enough, with this model for the winter. So is it picking up on something? Well, it could be. It certainly could be, and it may be that although it's overdoing it, it is picking up on some sort of signal. Beijing Climate Centre also showing winter charts now, and this is a 500 millibar height anomaly for the winter, for December, January, February. We see above average height sitting to the north and west, below average around and just to the east of the British Isles. But that area of above average heights in the Atlantic is quite impactful there, because that will be bringing in a fair amount of westerly winds. So despite the blocking that we've got up to the north, actually this high pressure in the Atlantic is more dominant here, and probably bringing quite a few westerly winds. And so the temperature anomaly for the winter is actually near normal for the British Isles. It's going for an average temperature anomaly for the winter, and that's because of that high pressure sitting in the Atlantic. Despite the blocking that we've got to the north, we have got pretty good blocking around Greenland. We've still got a dominant high pressure in the Atlantic that will be keeping winds often from a westerly direction. So that's the reason it's not going for a cold winter. Precipitation, it's going for average precipitation again, but from that 500 millibar height anomaly you would expect a fair number of cold snaps, cold interludes, but then it'd be sort of winter where the westerlies come back. But it's so far away you can't really worry too much about any of these charts, be honest. CFS version 2 model is going out to the winter period. This is quite interesting, actually. 700 millibar high. It's going for a big area of high pressure there around Alaska. That's normally the sort of thing that you would expect to see with an El Nino winter. It's not going for an El Nino, but that high pressure up there is quite interesting. I'm not sure why it's coming up with such an extensive area of heights up there, but for us, well, it's going for quite a bit of blocking up to the north here around Greenland, and it's going for a trough to the northeast and a trough in eastern America. So the idea from that is you'll be getting a ridge here, area of high pressure, you will be getting a trough there underneath, so a cold winter potentially for eastern America, another ridge somewhere around here stretching up to this blocking up to the north, and then another trough around here. So potentially that is quite a cold sort of winter type pattern. And on the monthly breakdowns, we're just coming into December now. We're just getting December charts. This is the 700 millibar heights for December with the CFS model, and we see high pressure there around and to the northwest of the British Isles, a trough sitting to the east of the British Isles. That's quite a coolish sort of pattern for December that the model is going for. And the final thing I want to leave you with is the charts from Meteoseal, because Meteoseal actually go out further than these charts that I can show you from the CFS model. I've been keeping an eye on Meteoseal because it's got an average pressure anomaly going out through winter into January and February. I've been keeping an eye on the January anomalies for some time now, because look at this. Run after run after run of this extended experimental CFS model is going for enormous and very alarming, actually, blocking up to the north of the country. So I'm just going to change the colour so that you can see this. All of this here is very extensive blocking that the model is predicting for January to be sitting to the north of the British Isles, around Greenland, and to the north and across Scandinavia as well. And a very large extensive trough is sitting in the Atlantic and extending out into Europe on presumably a southerly tracking jet stream, a jet stream tracking a long way south because of this blocking. Now that is very alarming from the CFS model for January. It's doing it run after run after run. I'm not sure what the model is on, but it's picking up on something for January. There's no doubt in my mind that the CFS model is picking up on something for January that's looking very, very blocked at this stage. Now, it may come to nothing, but the consistency with the CFS model for such a long way out, for such an experimental model that's normally flip-flopping all over the place, it's very alarming to see the CFS doing this time after time after time. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll keep you updated about it. I've already spoken about this in a video earlier on. Quite what the CFS model is picking up on for January, I'm not sure. But if it's anywhere near right, that sort of blocking and it's off the scale. I'll just get rid of these again. It's actually off the scale. There is the scale there, going up to the red. This orange that we see up here across Greenland is off the scale in terms of heights and blocking that it's predicting across the northern latitudes for January. So what it's on, I'm not sure, but it's a very consistent signal. It's a very alarming signal if it's right, because it's going to be an exceptionally blocked January, the sort of thing that we had in March, but in January. If you get it in January, it's going to be much, 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 much colder than what we saw in March. That sort of blocking of the northern latitudes will probably lead to a sub-zero central England temperature. That kind of thing. That's the kind of thing we're looking at from that sort of blocking that the CFS model is predicting. Now, it's only July. This is 6 months away, so more than likely the CFS model is going to drop this idea, or it'll kind of weaken it as it gets closer. It'll sort of modify it, kind of thing, as it moves closer to the period. So don't be too alarmed about it at the moment. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But it's very interesting that the CFS model is this consistent. Hope you found the video interesting. Thanks for all your ideas and for giving me the opportunity to do this video. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching.